Hey everyone, Sean Dawson here from Julie Harris Realty with your update for October 2023. A couple of things I want to talk about today, so I'll just jump straight into it. Today we're going to launch with interest rates. So as of recording, it is Thursday the 5th of October. Of course, we had our interest rates announced on the first Tuesday of this month, so a couple of days ago. And for the fourth month in a row, the RBA have decided to keep the interest rates at the existing 4.1%. Surely a good sign for a lot of borrowers out there. One thing to be aware of is that in August we did see a bit of an increase in the consumer price index, which is in inflation, up to 5.2% from a previous 4.9% in July. Interest rates theoretically have peaked though, and they are on their way back down. So hopefully we should see interest rates increase potentially early to mid next year. We'll see what happens. Of course, first Tuesday of October means the new monthly indices for Corelogic, and some very, in my opinion, very interesting kind of statistics to come out of the month. Now, in line with a lot of what has been trending for the last 5 to 6 months in a row, we did see property prices increase in both categories, freehold homes and units, from a month-to-month basis, and for the first time I think in close to 12 months we did see actually both of those categories also see an increase in value in a year-to-year basis. So I'll walk you through this right now. In Brisbane, so the Greater Brisbane area of course, which means Brisbane City Council, Ipswich, Logan, the Redland Bay region and the Moreton Bay region, we saw an increase across all dwellings, so freehold homes and units, townhouses and the like. Up year on year 5% and up month on month 1.3%. So quite a phenomenal increase when you consider all of the kind of interest rate turmoil that we've witnessed in the last 12 to 18 months. And then when you look at the house category, so freehold homes, year on year value up across Greater Brisbane, 4.4% up and 1.4% up on the month to month difference. So that means the difference between August and September this year. The unit increases up year on year 8%, which is I suppose a bit less surprising when we've been witnessing some pretty strong increases in the last 6 months in that category anyway. And then the month to month increase 1.1%. Now, of course, that's across the country in all of your big capitals. We've seen some very kind of starkly different results across all of them. You know, the big differences in Sydney and Melbourne. And then you look at some of the differences in some of your more regional town centres like Darwin and Canberra. Very interesting, I would say, across the month. In terms of like a kind of micro suburb report, Corelogic are a bit slower to release the results for individual suburbs, but they have released a couple of results for a couple of the suburbs that I've sold in here in Brisbane. So if you live in a home in Wakeley, theoretically speaking, the value of that property, of that freehold home, has increased by 9.8%. in the last 12 months. Now that doesn't surprise me at all because there's been a significant decline in stock on market in that suburb in particular. And so we're seeing now at this point that your home is theoretically valued at 9.8% higher than it was this time 12 months ago. Coorparoo has seen some increases in that same category, so freehold homes up 3.2% in the same amount of time. And then units in Carina. Now I mentioned units, that's townhouses and all those kind of things, just because Julie and I do have quite a bit of a presence in that suburb in that category. The unit value year on year, so the difference between, these stats run to August this year, the difference between August last year and August this year, units are up 6.3% in Carina, which is, you know, kind of similar to what you're seeing in the Greater Brisbane area as well. Moving into that kind of like Carina kind of discussion, I do think I mentioned this last month, but I've recently listed 1407 Johnston Street in Carina. Now this is in Carindale View Stage 1. Julie and I have been selling in that complex for a long time now. We've seen prices in that estate increase significantly in the last 4 years. When I started with Julie 4 years ago, we were selling a typical 3-bedroom townhouse in that estate for $370,000, maybe a little bit more if it was in good condition. Now they're typically selling that estate anywhere from $650,000 up to $700,000, depending on the condition, depending on if it's got 2 garages and all that kind of stuff. Now, 1407 Johnston Street has been put under contract. We had it under contract within the first couple of days of launch. We had 6 offers in the first weekend. Now I can't disclose what that contract price is, of course, but we're very happy with it, and it is in keeping with the top of that range. Now, of course, that is because it's a very nicely well done renovated property, and because that particular stage of Carindale Views, so stage 1, was the first stage that the original developer built, and when they built that, they provisioned more space for guest parking, a little bit more space for common areas in front of the property, so a lot of them have a second car space in the driveway like number 14 does. And then once they learned, they could probably squeeze them in a little bit more in the subsequent stages. They did start to make them a bit tighter, and so I do think that stage 1 at Carindale Views is the best one because of that. So we're moving into Christmas now. We've got about 2 months until Christmas, a bit less than that. If you're a buyer or a seller, you probably need to consider getting your skates on now if you want to have your transaction done by Christmas. If you consider the minimum 30-day contract settlement period across most properties in most transactions, as a buyer, you've probably got maybe 2 to 3 weeks to really start getting offers on properties and getting those offers accepted if you want to be in by Christmas time. As a seller, you've probably got even less time when you consider the fact that you may need to do a bit of prep work to get it ready. And then you consider the marketing time, which may take 1 week, it may take 2 to 3 weeks, it's really hard to tell. And then you consider also that 30-day settlement period. So if you're one of those people that are kind of holding off either with your decision to purchase or to sell, and you want to be done by Christmas, now's the time to call me. You can reach me on 0407 149 757. I might leave it at that. Of course, you're always welcome to reach out. Send me a private message, a text message, a phone call, or an email if you ever have any questions. Thanks.